What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to talk about the Roadster Sport Shock Tower braces. That is right. I got these from Goodwin Racing for my ND Miata, and I have recently installed them. And I'm going to include in this video some tips and tricks on how to install these, more specifically on the rear one. However, the front one is pretty straightforward. If your vehicle's already equipped with the shock bar or the brace that comes from the factory, you're going to just have to remove it. And it's basically removed by the shock mount bolts here, a couple out along the firewall, and again on the other side. You essentially just remove the OEM bar and then replace this one in its place. Really straightforward, guys. Nothing to really know here. Now, as we move along to the rear of the vehicle, the rear is a different story. It's going to require you to remove all of this carpeting in here, along with um, the tire inflation kit. You're going to have to remove that, and then once you've removed all of that, you're going to have access to the rear shock mounts. Now, when you go and install this new brace here, you're going to see that there are some things you're going to need to do, which I've included in this video. All in all, the install process was pretty simple. And in terms of my review and what I think, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. Is the vehicle any stiffer than it was before? I'm not really sure. It doesn't help that I went ahead and installed new suspension and sway bars at the same time. So I can't really tell you if these made a difference or not, but aesthetically, they look the part. That is for sure. Now, for more information on how to install this rear bar as clean and as tidy as I've done here, keep watching the video. Hey guys, for those of you looking to do the Roadster Sport rear shock bars on the ND Miata, you probably already know how difficult it is. Now, I've already installed it along with my Öhlins, and the one thing that I noticed immediately after trying to reassemble everything here in the trunk was that the brace or the plate aluminum piece that goes in here no longer fits in place, obviously because the bar is in the way. Not an overly big deal. It's really just there to protect these lines, you know, if you have luggage in your trunk and it's moving around so that it doesn't, you know, kind of move around and bend a line or damage the lines. However, the other component to that is that the carpeting in itself actually mounts to part of that plate. So if you want to utilize the shock bar and the brace here, and you want to continue to use the plate, you're going to have to trim it. Now, I've already done you the favor, and I've trimmed it here just using a cutoff tool and then a little burr bit here to kind of clean it up. But essentially, this is what you want to trim off. Once you've trimmed this away, you discard that piece, and you're only losing one tab on the bottom, but you still have another tab here and then 3 other tabs. You'll notice, I'll take this here to the trunk. Now, all right, bear with me, I'm doing this all one-handed. All right, so over here, that guy lines up with bolt hole over there, and then lines up with bolt hole there and bolt hole there. And there you have it. We've made sufficient clearance. And this will allow me to run the carpet in its place because it does have the pop rivets that go in here. But more importantly, I maintain this brace, or this plate rather, this protective shield, so that if anything moves around, it does protect my lines. Aside from that, I got to do a little trim on the carpet, but once that's complete, it's going to look amazing. All right, guys, the next thing you're going to do once you've trimmed the metal piece that you're going to be putting back, the metal plate, is you're going to want to get some 1/4-inch hose here. And the reason you're going to want to do this is because the evap line actually makes contact with the rear shock brace, and to avoid, you know, wearing through the line or even just hearing a vibration and a knocking noise from the back, we're just basically going to take this little bit of 1/4-inch line here, and we're just going to split it like so, and then we are going to just wrap it around the hose or this hard line like so, as you can see here. We're just going to slip it over just like that. All right, and then what that's going to do is it's obviously going to insulate the line. It's going to prevent it from making contact, And we're just gonna throw some tie straps or some nylon ties around it to make sure it doesn't move anywhere. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw a nylon tie maybe around it, and then a nylon tie kind of like here to just stop it from moving around. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere because as you can see, it's resting right on here. So I doubt it's gonna move, but anyways, we're just gonna do that for just a little added security. And there you have it. We have our nylon tie holding things in place there. So that should be good. So now we're just gonna put the plate back in and we're all good to go. All right, guys, and there you have it. It's all fastened up. There is a little bit of, I mean, you can bend this. You know, if you don't clearance it enough, you can kind of bend it out of the way. There's movement there. You can bend these tabs to kind of make room for it. You will need to trim it. There's no bending around that, but again, even if you don't trim enough, you can usually just bend enough. But I've got sufficient clearance here. I've got at least, I don't know, probably like 3 to 5 millimeter between this part and this part here, which, like I said, if I wanted to, I could probably just bend the tabs a little bit and make myself a little more room if I wanted to. But I think for now that's going to be sufficient. So yeah, now we're gonna get the carpet installed and go from there. All right, guys, so we've gone ahead and we've reinstalled all of the carpet trim. And I want to encourage any of you that are doing this, like, this is just like adult arts and crafts. Just take your time. Patience is key. Honestly, I just took my time. I used a sharp box cutter, a pair of scissors, and you know, you just want to basically start with the sides. This side needed absolutely zero trimming whatsoever. This is good, okay? The back, no problem at all. Over here, on this side, we just needed to trim just ever so slightly in here just to make way. And what I did, guys, is I just kind of kept fitting the carpet loosely, and then I would just push and apply pressure to where I felt where the bar was. I would just take the X-Acto knife and I would just kind of just poke in and around it and just work my way and just gradually just, you know, kind of keep cutting into the carpet just slowly, just, marking the carpet with the X-Acto knife, and then eventually just giving way to wherever it was. And then just, just trimming as little as possible. It's always easier to trim less, and then keep trimming outwards as opposed to trimming too much. You know, it is a little more time consuming, but I can assure you, if you do it that way, you're gonna have much better results. And then the back piece here, this required a little bit of trimming. So just down on the bottom here, over here as well, as you can see, and I needed to trim this a little bit just for fitment because you gotta kind of wiggle it in. So once you put this back piece in and you kind of slide it down and into place, you're gonna need to put the bottom carpet up and under the bar. And that's where my needle nose came into play because it's kind of a tight fit. So you just kind of shove it in there and then grab the needle nose and just kind of pull it from the back side. But there you have it. I'm very pleased with the results. Honestly, it's looking pretty good. Now, you're probably wondering, what about the plastic parcel shelf that goes in here? So from what I see, nobody really reuses this. There's very limited info out there. Now, I could, I mean, the holes are there, but they're just gonna make it's just gonna make contact. It doesn't sit flush. So I mean, I could, in theory, what I'm gonna probably do is I'm gonna probably trim away that to kind of make it fit a little bit better. But there's a lot of kind of on the bottom, a little bit, quite a bit to trim out, but yeah, we may play with that and see if I can get that to fit. But otherwise, what a lot of people do is they just take the existing straps and they just tie the tire repair kit around the existing straps and just leave it as such. That's really all this was holding in place anyway, guys. It was just holding my tire repair kit and my jack tools. That's pretty much it. But I mean, I could just throw the tire repair kit in there and probably make do. We'll see. I might fool around with this and see if I can refit this. If not, not the end of the world.